Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where we are continuing to expand and grow. And we thank you for taking this journey with us. Wherever you are in the world, we appreciate you. Thank you for all the follows, the subscribes, and the likes. I'm Dr. Jacalyn Kerbeck, and our show today is the United Kingdom news and culture. And we are super excited to be going into what's going on over there in the UK, finding out from our expert correspondent, Mr. Simon MacDonald, and of course, welcoming the beautiful star of our show, DIANN FLOYD BOEHM. Before I bring them out, here is a special announcement. And for some reason, my information is there, but we have a new partnership with Sizzle TV. We have a smart TV partnership with massive marketing and digital distribution opportunities, and it's for content and show creators. So Sizzle TV has been around for a while, and they stream to 300 destinations. We're looking forward to welcoming some new audiences from around the world. For now, let's get the show started. Let's bring out DIANN FLOYD BOEHM. She's an international award-winning author. She's also graced many stages in many formats. She's worn many crowns and many hats. Welcome, DIANN. Hello.
Thank you, Dr. Jacalyn. You're so sweet. And congratulations, Sizzle. That is fabulous news. I tell you, you are a mover and shaker.
Thank you, DIANN. You know, I spend a lot of time working on this platform, and I'm continuously looking at ways for us to grow. And basically, I look at people who are doing amazing things, and I reach out to them and say, how can I support what you're doing? And how can we work together? And sometimes it takes a year or two, like it did in this case, because it wasn't the right timing. But here we are. So I'll be talking more about that later. So thank you again for being with me since the very beginning, DIANN. Woo!
I know. I feel so blessed. And it was just serendipity that we even met, and it was meant to be.
I remember it like it was yesterday.
Yes. So.
But for now, we're going to stay on the United Kingdom news and culture, and we're bringing out Simon MacDonald, who is an expert television presenter. He's no stranger to being on the screen. He's no stranger to being in the sea, or even having the wonderful things from the sea being prepared to serve to others as a celebrity chef. Let's welcome him to the show. Hello.
Hello, nice to be back again. It's Wednesday. What better day in the week can there be? And here we are. We're going to sizzle with zizzle. Wow. Really going places, yes.
I have to tell the two of you, it's so funny. I went to teach my spin class this morning, and I was on the microphone. I said, Monday, how are we doing? And somebody said, it's Wednesday. I'm like, oh. I don't know. It is Wednesday because I see the two of you. I love seeing your faces, and we have such a good time on this program. So, Diane, question for you. When we started doing this, why did you want to be part of the United Kingdom news and culture?
Oh, just put me on the spot, why don't you?
Zing, there you go.
So let's sizzle. I was so excited because, my ancestry is basically the entire UK. And I thought, how exciting. And I've worked with so many friends in Dubai in shows that were put on by the West End, Popular Productions. And so I have this real kinship to the UK. Matter of fact, if you go to the New Forest, there is a stone there that says this is where King Rufus was accidentally shot, and it was by my great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather. It was
great-great-great-great-grandfather killed him?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
He was related to him, but it was supposed to be an accident. So, Simon, is that good or bad?
We're always spoiling for a fight.
No, I love the UK. I love reading and learning. I love people who make a difference in the world. And the royals, when you're born into the royal family, you don't ask for it, but you're there. And I love seeing various royals embrace the importance of it and make a difference in the world. And so being on this particular show, the news and culture, was exciting. And I was like, yay. But I remember the first day we were doing it, I was so nervous. I was saying prayers, Pine State, you do well. I hope they like me. Now we're all buddies. At least Simon pretends to like me anyway. No, I'm just
I do like you. Yes, no, you do a great job, and you've become a great friend. I mean, we've all become great friends, and
yeah, we all have.
It's really nice. It really is.
Makes Wednesday special.
It does.
For sure. And by the way, a big hello to HELENA CHARD, who is not able to join us for this episode. She is on holiday today, but she's actually working. So
she's working.
She's working. And Simon, I know you have a presentation for today, but I also want to talk about, to your point, Diane, when you're born into the royal family or a royal family, you didn't ask for it, it just happens. What about when you marry into a royal family? That's a whole other set of, what is it, can of fish?
That is a big kettle of fish, that one. Yes, it either works or it bombs, basically. We've got Kate, who is just, really, she's almost more royal than the royals. She is an extraordinary lady. She is, she's got dignity, she's got elegance, she's got phenomenal manners. She knows people, and she really connects with people as well. I think you couldn't have been a better choice had you been actually engineered or born into it. Extraordinary. And there's she's a rare breed, is Catherine, and and they're a lovely couple, and their kids are just absolutely amazing. Young George, he's a future king, but he looks like a future king as well, and he acts like a future king. Charlotte, again, wow, she's going to break a few hearts, I think, over the years. She's a great character, a great personality as well, and just has a smile that would melt anybody. Louis, wow. Yes. Well, he's a character. He really is.
He
He's
makes
quite
cute
an
faces.
amazing character. He really is quite a guy. But that's one family, and and William. This is William and Harry. You look at them. William again was born to be a king, and he looks the part and he does the part. I think he's out there. He's been doing a really, really good job. A great ambassador for the country. The work that they have to do is extraordinarily hard and grueling, long, long hours, and you don't know where you're going to be from one minute to the next. Although, I mean, their schedules are mapped out months and months in advance. Princess Anne, well, what can I say about her? She's the hardest working one of the lot. I mean, she's a real workaholic. How she has time to play with her horses as well, I really don't know. But she is quite an extraordinary person. King Charles, I think a lot of people were slightly concerned and worried. Is he a bit of a lightweight to be king and so on? But he's stepped into those shoes, and and he's really, really made it. He's he's a gentleman, and again, exceptionally knowledgeable, well versed in each area that he goes to, and all about it. He became Prince of Wales. One of the first things he did, he learned to speak Welsh. Which was great. It's not the easiest language in the world to speak. A bit like in Scotland here, our Gaelic language as well. Well, they're all Celtic languages. The Gaelic in Scotland, the Gaelic in Ireland, and then Welsh. It's a mystery to me in many ways. Quite a difficult language to learn. But he stepped into the role exceedingly well. And of course, our late Queen. I mean, there was just nobody better. She was just absolutely amazing woman, incredible, strong, powerful, an incredible sense of humor as well. Quite a wicked sense of humor too. She liked fun, but she knew when enough was enough. So the family have been absolutely exceptional. Harry has gone over to the other side to
Those Americans.
and Meghan, well, they're getting a lot of stick just now as well about it all, and it's I don't see a solution happening between Harry and the royal family again. I think they've gone to the States, and that's where they're going to stay. There'll be celebrities in their own right, but in the UK, well, they're not so popular, and I don't like to trash anybody, but there we have it. It's it's just unfortunate the way things have worked out. But those that are left behind here, wow, hats off to them. They are absolutely doing a wonderful, wonderful job.
Yes, they are, and I think. I really believe, and correct me if you disagree, Simon, but if you're a royal, you need to make sure that the people understand what this world is all about, because it is a fishbowl in many ways, and you have certain rules and proper manners that you need to maintain, and if you don't like that, then you certainly shouldn't marry into it. And I think also, being from the same country kind of helps a little bit, because if you're born in Canada or you're born in America, you have such a different view about England because the way you're taught history, if that makes sense. So.
Yeah, I think probably that's why I'm doing these different pieces each week, to try and educate you on that side, to let you know we're human as well. But
yes. No, and you do such a phenomenal job. I love all of it. Right, Dr. Jacalyn?
Yes, for sure. I do have a question for the two of you. If you think about it, Charles had a long time to be groomed, so to speak, or to understand what would be involved to be king, whereas William is not going to have as much time. So do you think that makes a difference? Do you think you need to have decades of preparation?
Well, it's everything else and everyone else. You never stop learning.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Charles had a long, long time to grow into these shoes, and he's done it admirably. And William, okay, he's not had as long, but he's stepped up to the plate big time. He's really has. He's done a great job. Yeah, being royal, being the king. It's got to be the worst job in the world. I mean, there's absolutely no prospects of promotion.
I knew you were going to say that.
But yeah, being a royal, you hit it on the head by saying, living in a goldfish bowl, and that's exactly what it is. You've really got little or no privacy, and if you suddenly should put the shutters up and say, right, okay, I'm kicking the shoes off tonight and putting my feet up in front of the fire, people say, well, what's wrong? We haven't seen them for 2 minutes. There's something wrong. Where are they? Are they alive? And the rumor market starts as well because they're not seen for a day. So it's a very, very difficult life. I think it's actually quite a thankless life. I think the romanticism, of days of yore, when you think, oh, being the queen, involving the queen and the king, you can strut about and, get what you want and clap
Off your head, right?
off your head. But you're not allowed to do that now, and you just don't get the opportunity because the media has just put a window on their lives permanently. And there's no getting away from it. So, and you think of, you see the shots of the royal family going down, meeting the people, and shaking the hands. It would be interesting to know exactly how many hands the king has shaken in his life.
A lot,
quite a lot. And how many repeat times has he shaken the same hand, apart from the regular meetings with the Prime Minister or whatever? Then I think it's a staggering number of people that have actually shaken the hand of the king. He must have very sore hands by this time, I would think, as well. So,
I would have to say that would be
muscles.
that would be one reason why I couldn't be in politics or be royalty. Because I don't want to shake people's hands. I just don't. I'm not, even when I was in corporate, I didn't want to shake hands. I was like, can we elbow? Can we hug? But DIANN, when you and I were growing up, I know I was introduced to Cinderella. And I always thought how wonderful it would be to be Cinderella and wait for your, Prince Charming to come. I don't remember how the story worked out, but there was never any prince coming. And I'm looking, I don't see him. But anyway, you've worn a lot of crowns in your day. And I recently was looking at purchasing a crown from this place where I buy some of my jewelry. And I thought, there's one thing to wear the crown, right? Maybe be on a stage or maybe be on a TV show, but it's another thing that the responsibility that comes with wearing the real crown. And they're two totally different things. I mean, maybe that's why the official crowns are so heavy, because it's to remind you of the weight of responsibility that you have. What do you think?
I think you said it well. But even if you are Mr. Park like I was, or several other titles, you still, when you put that crown on and you're with the public, you have a certain persona that you need to carry because you're representing your community. And you need to do it well. And so you are in parades and you are shaking hands or you are performing and you want to be at your utmost best, from the moment that making sure your fingernails are clean, no salad between your teeth, right? Because you have little kids that are looking up to you and aspiring to be like you. And that's a huge responsibility. And even though that probably sounds so tiny because it's the city, it's still huge in this particular world. So I can't even imagine what it's like to be actually royal. And the one thing I love about England or the UK over is that for us, Queen Elizabeth was queen of the world, right? If you say anything about a royal, you immediately would think of Queen Elizabeth, and now it's, King Charles. And that is the weight of the world. What do you think, Simon?
Yeah, absolutely right. And the protocol and the duty stamp that is on being royal is a very, very heavy burden to wear. I mean, you look at the crown that the coronation crown that King Charles was wearing. That's a hefty piece of kit. That is. There's a lot of gold. There's a lot of diamonds and rubies, and God knows what all goes into that. It's you get a pretty sore neck after wearing that for a wee while. But not many people get the privilege or the honor of, I'm not going to necessarily say privilege, because I wonder how much of a privilege is it to, be anointed as the king, because, illustrating earlier, all your privacy is taken away from you. You can have a pretty comfortable lifestyle, but there's a chunk missing out of it as well. And that is being able to just, as I say, kick your shoes off and get out and about. The Queen did that, late Queen did that remarkably well. I mean, she'd off to Balmoral, and she could do her own thing on the Balmoral estate, and she'd go off over the hills and so on. And she'd occasionally, and it's been documented, she's met people who are out hiking over the hills as well, and and she's been sort of relatively incognito with them. And it's not until after she's moved on that the people that she'd met suddenly thought, was that her? They sort of left reeling that in actual fact, they'd bumped into the Queen with just normal sort of hello, how are you type conversation, and they carry on. The Queen was very good at being able to switch on and switch off. Royal Yacht Britannia was their great switch off place. Because, we were out at sea. Okay, she still had her daily dispatch boxes, which she would have to deal with, but she was at sea, and it was her, it was her getaway home, really. And if you've ever been on the Royal Yacht Britannia, I mean, it's beautifully laid out. I mean, it's very comfortable, but it's actually quite simply laid out. It's not the sort of palatial dripping with gold that you'd expect to see anywhere else. I mean, the main sort of saloon or the main lounge in there is just like a very comfortable country home lounge. And there's a piano in the corner there that Princess Diana used to play. They've got board games, they've got magazine racks, they've got a television, they've got a fire, and very, very comfortable couch there, and very comfortable armchairs. It's just lovely. And a lot of people who go there get a bit of almost a shock. They're expecting to go in somewhere that's dripping with ermine and gold and what have you, and they expect to see a couple of thrones, and they're going to be sitting on their thrones the whole time the ship's at sea. It's not at all. This is playtime, and there's a protocol that's got to be adhered to with the crew, but they do get on with the crew. And Princess Diana, she used to go down below to the crew mess or the officers' mess, where they've got a bar set up there. And she'd drink with them for a large part of the night, and eventually somebody would have to come down and say, "Hey, come on, time's up." and the Duke of Edinburgh used to do the same as well. He'd spend a lot of time down there with the officers, and just passing the time of day and thoroughly enjoying himself.
Simon, I remember you did a piece, I think 1 or 2 pieces about the royal yachts, and they're no longer, correct? They're open for the public now.
The Royal Yacht Britannia is, she's moored in Edinburgh at Victoria Quay, and so she is open to the public now. They've kept her as she was, with 1 or 2 exceptions. I mean, the likes of the Queen's bedroom. They've cut a big panel out so you can see in. You can see the Queen's bed and her desk and so on where she worked, and across the other side as well there was the other stateroom there where the Prince and Princess of Wales had their, now the King, had their honeymoon, and there's a panel cut out there, and you can see the bed and the wardrobe and all the rest of it as well. So she's just a very, very comfortable super yacht. And and she sits there, and you see that boat. She has a dignity all of her own. She is just such a magnificent looking yacht. A great privilege of knowing about the last admiral who commanded her, Sir Robert Woodward. And he was a great pal of mine a few years ago when I had my food smoking business up in the West Highlands. And he used to, come in regularly. We used to, go to the pub and have a few drinks in the area as well. They had a holiday cottage in the area. A lovely, lovely chap, really nice. So I remember as well the day he actually got the command. And he came rushing into the smoke. It was about 10 o'clock one morning, and I was getting things ready for the day. He came rushing in, Simon, I've got a new job. And I thought, what? Yeah. I said, you're a Royal Navy captain. Okay, that's a pretty good job to have. And I said, no, I've got a new. I'm a yachty now. And I said, what? He said, don't tell me you're giving up the Navy. She said, no, I'm a yachty. And yachty is the name given to all the crew and officers of the Royal Yacht Britannia. So then the penny suddenly dropped, and I said, "What? You've got Britannia?" I said, "Yes, I'm the new. I've been promoted. I'm now the Commodore and the Admiral in charge of Britannia." Oh, wow! So immediately thrust the visitor's book in the smokehouse under his nose. He said, "Sign that." So he signed it, Julian. I gave him a whole page to himself, and so he signed it to Robert Woodward. And under address, he just put Britannia. And I really cherish that page in that book. I've got it in the house here somewhere as well. So exceptionally nice guy, and his wife Roz as well. They're a lovely, lovely couple. So he landed really probably the best job in the Royal Navy.
That's cool.
Yeah, what a great story.
But the Royals have no way to escape on a yacht now, correct? I think that's what you were asking, Dr.
No, there's no Royal Yacht now. After Britannia was decommissioned, of course, the famous scenes on newsreels there, where you can see the Queen visibly shedding a tear, and Prince Philip as well. And he was a man of iron who generally did not show emotion, but they got him that time. Since then, we've got a luxury cruise ship. It's actually an old Caledonian Brains car ferry that was converted out into the most luxurious cruise ship that does cruises around the Western Isles at a phenomenal price. And in the absence of the Royal Yacht, then for a couple of years, the Queen chartered her. So she became the sort of part-time Royal Yacht. That was it. Big boat to charter. God knows how much that cost the taxpayer. But she would going to Balmoral each year. It was a great thing on Britannia, and they go up the west coast, and they'd always have their favourite stopping off places in the sea locks or some of the islands, and they'd stop in there, drop the anchor, and have a play ashore or dinner or whatever on board, and then carry on and go right round the top to eventually coming into Aberdeen, and then they'd get the car back to Balmoral from there. And that was always the start of the holiday. So she didn't want to give that up, hence the reason she chartered the what was originally the Columba car ferry. So that's it, and it's now called Hebridean Princess. Beautiful, beautiful ship.
Wow.
What about King Charles? What was he doing at the time for his yachting desire, if he has one?
Well, he'd spent a lot of time in the Royal Navy as well, and he commanded a minesweeper for a number of years when he was younger. So he's got a lot of seawater coursing through his veins as well. But no, I think now he's flying up to Aberdeen, or can get the Royal Train or whatever to go to Balmoral rather than going down the yachting route. He's trying to trim back and be seen to be trimming back, a lot of the expense and so on, which there was sort of grumblings in the public as well about how much the royal family is costing us. So King Charles is now he's trimmed back, scaled back quite considerably. And of course that has created its own problem, because now that he's sort of temporarily out of action, although having said that, this last week he's really been more out and about, and also with Catherine having the Princess of Wales again with her issues with her surgery. So she's had to take a back seat as well. So that's two very senior royals who are sort of pretty much out of the equation. So that's meant now Queen Camilla has had to take up a lot of the slack for the king's appointments, and then the others just have to sort of share it amongst themselves for what's left. Because Andrew, of course, he's out of the equation, and Harry's on the other side of the Atlantic. So it has been scaled back, and dramatically so in this last few months.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like there's a lot of time for relaxation. It's time for self-care and reflection and gathering together as a family, really.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, Camilla has stepped up. She's done a fantastic job. Again, when Charles and Camilla got together, she was really sort of branded as being the wicked witch of the West. Nobody wanted to know about it. But, she's come into her own, and she's doing a fabulous job. And, she's picked it up very, very well. I mean, she has obviously had a lot of grooming and a lot of training, and that's ongoing, but she's taken to it exceptionally well.
That she has. And on another note, before we hear about all of your wonderful history you're going to teach us about, I just want to take the opportunity to say that yay for Princess Kate. I know that had to be difficult to do that video for all of us to hear, but it was a great way, at least on this side of the planet, for people to quit speculating and to give her some privacy. And I just really wanted to take a moment to say kudos to her.
Yeah, she did. I mean, she did that so well. And it's just, following in the wake of the controversy over the photograph, which, she's not a professional photographer. She's a very good photographer, extremely competent photographer. But she'd been obviously fiddling around, just trying to, we all do it. We've got these things.
What filters are for, isn't it?
And so you get that, and you look at your photograph. Oh, I'll need to crop that down a bit, and brighten up the background. This, that. We all do it.
Yeah, so, I'm like cutting off part of my arm here. So
right, we don't want to see the back of anyone's arm. No, if you're not standing the right way, it's not good.
Which only demonstrates that they live in a fishbowl. If you're going to go, oh my gosh, they moved that hand.
The biggest offenders for it are the media. And I'm just thinking of the glossy magazines. You show me a single photograph in a glossy magazine that hasn't been touched up dramatically, then that's it. But they absolutely crucified them for doing that. It was actually really quite annoying and very distasteful. So, of course, following hard on the heels of that, which presumably at the time she was, enhancing the photograph. It's not even enhancing; it's just tidying it up and not altering it as such. So, while she was doing that, she must have known, herself, what the problem was. And I think they've been trying to work out, how are we going to approach this? How are we going to bring this out into the public domain without sparking alarm and panic? And they have done it so well. And I mean, they now, from doing that, everybody's much more aware of themselves, and they've been checking up, making appointments with the doctors and the hospitals and so on. Can I be screened for this? Can I, check just in case, and so on. And it's actually it's helped the cancer research side of things quite considerably, and Absolutely. So they did it so well. And that was a very tough video to make when she sat on that bench, saying it there, but she did exactly the right thing, and she said it beautifully.
Yeah, she's really a role model and an inspiration. And
absolutely.
Diane's point, we give her so much credit. That takes a lot. And also when it's her own private business and she's got to go out there because everybody keeps talking and speculating conspiracies. I mean, even some big name celebrities here in the States were saying they were convinced that there was some kind of conspiracy and body doubles and this and that. And then they had to go back and say, wow, I really should have kept my mouth shut. Yeah.
Oh, no. There we go.
Well, kind sir, it is time for your presentation. Are you ready?
Right. Well, I was keeping on the royal theme, and it was mentioned there the other week about the Stone of Destiny, and we were talking about the Stone of Destiny or the Stone of Scone, what's it called, and what's about it. So I thought this week, yes, let's just do something on it as well, because the more I delved into it, I mean, I like doing things with history and mystery. Wow, this has got both in bucket loads. So what is the Stone of Destiny? It's been used for coronations for centuries. Scotland's ancient Stone of Destiny is also called the Stone of Scone, and it's surrounded and shrouded in mystery and tradition. As historic stone objects go, you wouldn't think a 335-pound block of dull sandstone would actually attract much attention. When it comes to heavyweight relics, the Rosetta Stone, or one of Cleopatra's Needles, is far bigger and arguably better known around the world. Anyway, nevertheless, Scotland's Stone of Destiny has justly secured its own place in history, for this hefty chunk of rock is more than just an artifact from ancient times. It's a sacred icon, it's a trophy of bloody war and conquest, and a political lightning rod as well. And for thousands of years, it's played a hallowed role in the making of kings and queens, the symbolic bedrock upon which monarchs have been built. So more recent research has shed new light on the stone's legendary origins, which may take away some of its mystery, but science can't diminish any of its lively history, nor its power as an object of reverence and tradition. And here's what we know about the Stone of Destiny. Where did the Stone of Destiny come from? Well, the legend of the stone begins with the Bible. And according to the Old Testament, the prophet Jacob fell asleep and had divinely inspired dreams of angels going up and down a set of steps that led to heaven. That's the famous vision of Jacob's ladder. Less well known, but certainly mentioned in the book of Genesis, is that Jacob had his vision while resting his head upon a stone. When he awoke, he set that stone up as a holy memorial to his sacred vision. Jacob's stony pillow, it's been long asserted, was the Stone of Destiny. The Stone of Scone, not to malign beliefs of the stone's most ardent devotees, but at this point it's probably worth mentioning a couple of facts. First, the object we know today as the Stone of Destiny, which is also called the Stone of Scone, has been proven to be a type of 400 million year old red sandstone, which is not native to Palestine, where Jacob had his vision. Now, this particular type of red sandstone is common in Scotland, however, especially near the town of Scone in Perthshire. Now, this was confirmed once again in a recent analysis done as part of a project to create a cutting-edge 3D scan of the stone, which had rendered it in unprecedented detail. So keep this in mind for later. So meanwhile, back in ancient times, the legend of the Stone of Destiny purports that the stone came from the Holy Land and eventually arrived in Ireland sometime in the 7th century BC. There it was known as the Lia Fáil, which is the Gaelic for Stone of Destiny. However, a completely different Lia Fáil still stands in Ireland. It's an apocryphal history, and it's often conflated with that of the Stone of Scone. The stone was supposedly placed at the sacred hill of Tara, where it was used in ceremonies to crown the kings of Ireland for nearly 1500 years. But it was Fergus, the son of Eric, the first king of the Scots, who reigned from 498 to 501, who transported the stone from Ireland to Argyll, here in Scotland, where he was crowned on it. Now, this was recorded in the 15th century chronicle. The place of his coronation actually lies about 300 yards from here, from where I'm sitting just now. So have to doff my cap every time I go by. In the 9th century, Celts were said to have taken the stone from Ireland to a land they called Alba, which we know is as Scotland today. It ended up at a medieval town of Scone, which became a centre for royal power. There, the stone continued to function as a sacred relic and seat for the coronation of Scottish kings. Lulach was the first recorded king to sit on the stone in the 11th century, and here legend starts to merge with documented historical fact, because in 1296, Edward I of England, movie fans would know him as Edward Longshanks, the highly fictionalized antagonist in the 1995 historical epic Braveheart. And he took the stone as spoils of war during the First War of Scottish Independence, which I had talked about a few weeks ago, I believe. It eventually ended up at Westminster Abbey, where Edward had a special chair built specifically to hold the stone. This would become known as the coronation chair, which still exists and is used today, which every English monarch is said to have sat upon at their coronation, from Henry IV in 1399 to Charles III in 2023. But the stone would be stolen one more time. On Christmas Day in 1950, Scottish nationalists, 4 students from the University of Glasgow, broke into Westminster Abbey through an unguarded side door. Security in that trusting era was a bit less airtight than it is today, or Perhaps it was simply believed that no one could cart a 335-pound block of rock out of one of the most famous buildings in England without somebody actually noticing it. Nevertheless, students made off with the stone, although it was hardly a clean getaway. The culprits left plenty of evidence behind, and worst of all, the stone actually broke into 2 pieces as they were hauling it out. Later, it was determined that the stone already had a crack in it, thanks to a 1914 bombing by suffragettes that targeted but failed to destroy the coronation chair. In any case, the stone did at last make it back to Scotland, where it was repaired. A few months later, though the group that had orchestrated the theft decided to give up the stone, it was returned to England in 1951. Or was it? With so many legends already embedded in this storied slab, it's only fitting that those legends include a recurring conspiracy theory that the stone is actual fact fake. The most recent take on this notion dates to the 1950 heist. After it was returned in 1951, some people, including high-ranking politicians, began to allege that the stone that came back to England was but a clever replica of the real thing. Eyewitness accounts have emerged claiming that the purloined stone was actually kept in Scotland, where it was moved between various castles and churches over the years to confound authorities. But no hard evidence of this has yet been presented. And those 20th century claims could be moot anyway, because another theory states that the monks who guarded the original stone back in the 13th century fooled old Longshanks from the beginning. The king had never seen the real stone after all, so the theory suggests that the monks foisted a fake on the English, one quarried from local rock, which of course modern research has confirmed the real stone of destiny, depending on which legend you believe, was made of marble or was possibly a polished black meteorite. But if true, the original stone of biblical legend has since been lost to time. Regardless of conspiracy theories, the reddish stone that once sat for hundreds of years in Westminster Abbey had clearly retained a storied legacy of its own and remains a fixture in British coronation ceremonies. But it no longer resides in the Abbey. In 1996, the then Prime Minister, John Major, announced that England would return the stone to Scotland. So today it rests not in Scone, but in display in Edinburgh Castle under the watchful eye of both security and conservators. At least that's usually where you would find it. In April 2023, in anticipation of the coronation of Charles III, the stone made the journey to London once more. And Scotland didn't have to steal it back either, because by mid-May it was returned to Edinburgh, where it will remain until destiny calls once more. The story doesn't quite end there, though, because in January 2024, a fragment of the stone previously thought to have been lost was found in a cupboard at the headquarters of the Scottish Nationalist Party in Edinburgh. According to Scottish Cabinet papers released on the 1st of January this year, the fragment was actually given to the then First Minister Alex Salmond in 2008 by the son of John McCormack, who had been involved in the removal of the stone from Westminster Abbey in 1950. So John Elveridge, who was Permanent Secretary to the Cabinet at the time, told Mr. Salmond that he could keep the fragment, and Mr. Salmond then passed it on to the SNP for safekeeping. So today, well, Perth Museum opened its doors on Saturday the 3rd of March 2024, this year, just a few days ago, after a £27 million redevelopment project. And this world-class cultural and heritage attraction highlights the fascinating objects and stories that put Perth and Kinross at the centre of the Scotland story. At its heart sits the Stone of Destiny, also known as the Stone of Scone, one of Scotland and the UK's most significant historical objects, returning to Perthshire for the first time in over 700 years. The stone is at the centrepiece of this new museum, and it's now there for all to view. So,
wow.
History
Wow.
of back in loads of it. Yes.
And I love the fact that you've got up-to-date information as recently as last month.
Wow.
Well, it actually just is it. Not even last minute, 10 days ago. So,
Incredible.
I try to bring it up to time as best I could, from 400 million years ago up to the present day, condensed into a few minutes.
Bravo, you did it.
You did it. I had no idea the connection all the way to Jacob's Ladder. That was fascinating to me.
Yes, well, there we are. It's there's so many theories around it, and it is actually it's surrounded with so much mystery that one really wonders what is the truth. I mean,
Mhm.
it's it could be anything. But I think, I mean, in real terms, that the stone, it's sandstone, and it's very similar to the sandstone from the area around Perth and Scone. So, and if there's no red sandstone in Palestine, then that knocks that one on the head. But is the stone that we all know today, is that the real one? There is the question, because it might not be. So in that would then mean it is a possibility that it could have been Jacob's stone.
Yeah.
History and mystery.
History and mystery. I love it.
I do
Wow.
too. Inquiring minds want to know, but we'll
Yeah.
just
Oh,
have to
absolutely, yes,
wait.
yes. And it's one of these mysteries I don't think that one's ever going to be solved.
And
So
if they solved it and it wasn't the stone, does that mean the people who sat on it, because they were supposed to sit on it so they could be king, really were never the king because they
well,
didn't
yeah. I mean,
handle it?
actually, I mean, even
And no.
down to Fergus back in 498, who sort of sat on it across the road there when he was crowned. I don't know what the crown would have been like in those days, or if they had one, or what it was. But in the in this area in the Glen and just across the road there have been more kings crowned there than anywhere else in the British Isles.
Wow.
And do you know, I mean, there's another, these strange, silly facts that I keep coming out with. The Scottish flag, the saltire, or the St Andrew's cross, the blue background and the white cross, is the oldest national flag in the world.
Really?
I didn't know
Wow.
that.
So,
Fascinating.
so there we are.
Well, since you
And
have so
it is
many facts for us, do you happen to know how many kings there are in the world? Like any just range?
at any one time. Absolutely no idea. There seem to be new ones popping up every other day.
Hundreds,
Speaking of which,
thousands? I mean,
Oh.
tens of
well,
thousands?
it will be hundreds. I mean, I know, you've got the king of the Zulu nation. They don't actually have a country as such. They're, mostly incorporated South Africa, Zimbabwe, and up into Kenya. But they have their own king. So that's it. And then there's deposed kings as well. And you've got royal families all over, in particular in Europe. You've got Dutch royals, the Danish royals, the Swedish royals, and so on and so on and so on. So there's quite a few of them around. I used to serve 5 royal families with my smoked salmon at one time.
Wow. Amazing.
Our own ones, and most of them too. And the King of Norway, I like that one, because sending smoked salmon to Norway, which claims to be the home of salmon and smoked salmon, I thought it was a real coup being able to say that's about King of Norway with his smoked salmon.
Oh,
And,
Scotland wins again.
another one that supplied was the late King Hussein of Jordan, and he was a lovely, lovely wee man. He used to come into my smokehouse frequently to stay in Fort William at Inverlochy Castle, which is a very, very luxurious 5-star hotel, more like a country house, and he called it his Highland home. And I'll give the story another day, I think. But I got to know the man very well. He was a lovely, lovely man, a very small man, but he'd come into a room, he'd just fill it with his personality. So there we go. So on this day,
Let's hit it.
Yes, let's go with this. On this day, in 1815. Mount Tambora in the Dutch East Indies experienced a cataclysmic eruption, which was one of the most powerful in history, and killed around 71,000 people and caused global volcanic winter. It's mind-boggling. Then in 1912, RMS Titanic set sail from Southampton for her maiden voyage and, sadly, her final voyage as well. Well, birthdays. In 1512, King James V, who incidentally was one of the earlier kings to be sitting on the Stone of Scone, or the Stone of Destiny we've just been talking about. King James V of Scotland, he was born in Linlithgow Palace in Scotland, which is not that far away from Scone itself. For the death today, not many people seem to have died today, so I think today we're all pretty safe. But in 1585, the Italian Pope, Gregory XIII, who introduced the Gregorian New Style calendar in 1582, he died at the age of 83. So there we have it for On This Day.
Fabulous.
Thank you so much. And by the way, there's still time if somebody wants to check out today. I'm just saying, we hope not, but DIANN, what can you share with us about what you're doing? What's going on in your literary world?
In my literary world, I'm just now doing a lot of gardening and letting my mind soak in new ideas. So I'm in the bubbly inspiration world.
You can come and do my garden.
I have 6 gardens. I think I have enough.
Big property, that's for sure. And so, DIANN, if somebody wanted to reach out to you, what's the best way for them to do that?
The easiest way is just to go to my website, because you can sign up for my newsletter and contact me that way. And it's DIANNFLOYDBOEHM.com, DIANN FLOYD BOEHM.com, just like you have right there.
Thanks, DIANN. Of course, we've got your little QR code. If you move your head, we won't see you anymore. People can just scan on that right there.
That's amazing.
Simon,
and we didn't mention that Simon, or maybe you did, but Simon is a children's author now. So
I was going to ask Simon about his writings and what's going on with your literary world.
Oh, well, I mean, A Rhyme in Time, we brought out in November. People have been pestering me for so long to do that. It was actually, DIANN, it was your fault that it got published. Because you remember one day we read a couple of them out to you, and you said, oh, you've got to get this published. And I said, well, I wouldn't know where to start. And you said, well, I know a publisher, we'll put you in touch. Boom, rest history. So that's it, history with no mystery this time. And so I've got another one in the pipeline, which is actually a factual one. It's my father's war diary, which he wrote in whatever scraps of paper he could lay his hands on around the time of the Battle of Cassino. And this year is the 80th anniversary of the Battle of Cassino, and it was one of the bloodiest battles of the Second World War. There was a higher death toll at Cassino, and it was a battle that ran over a few months as well. It was quite a protracted thing, and it coincided about the time of the fall of Rome. So anyway, so I've got his handwritten notes, and the book will feature the handwritten notes and my transcript, because his writing is a bit like mine. He'd have probably made a good doctor, illegible writing. So that's one that's in the pipeline just now. It's in the edit, and so I'm trying to get that out this year. The Regimental Museum of the Black Watch, which is in Perth, 2 miles away from Scone, they're desperately keen to have a copy of this book as well, and they'll get we've got copies now of the actual original diary as well. So I've got to go and give them a little talk sometime as well. So that'd be good fun. So that's
really exciting. I can't
very
wait to read it.
Congratulations.
Oh, it's just it's been a great journey doing this, and like my father. Well, my father, or our Father who art in heaven. Now it has been for some number of years, but I can see him and I can hear him talking as I read it, and it's
that's powerful.
That's amazing.
Very, very powerful. So there we go. Anyway, I think have I got time to do a quick?
We have to go very quickly, but go ahead.
Well, if we're not meant to have midnight snacks, why is there a light in the refrigerator? Is
Why is there a
history?
chain on the door of the refrigerator? I don't know.
I love that.
That's good. That is a good one. For our visual audience, we do have a QR code you can scan so you can connect directly with DIANN. There it is. I'll leave it up for a couple of seconds.
Thank you.
Yes, it's pretty cool how it works. Just take your device and put it right up there. And we also have a QR code for Simon. If you'd like to connect with him, you can do the same thing there.
I was
And our
going to say,
dear
it looks
friend,
like the same QR code. But
no, it's not. And then our dear friend Helena, who's not here, you can scan her code as well. She'll be back next week. So thank you, friends, for being here. I really appreciate it. I do want to say hello to our new audiences on Roku worldwide and also on Amazon Fire. We are thrilled to have you. And I have someone working on Apple TV, and he should be finished next week. Fingers crossed. So, yay. Coming up next is in Scotland. Sizzle's already available. So we're just going to have our launch party show, and then people can start engaging. Our next show is coming up. It's called Launch It with Podcast Maestro and Scotland, followed by the 22nd episode of the Royally Rich Lifestyle Show with Ian Pelham-Turner. And I guess Helena Chard will be there. I don't know. And Philip Sykes, the British School of Excellence, the sponsors for the show. So that's all we have for right now. Bye, everyone. Thanks for being here.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
See you next week.
Bye.
The last few days have been really amazing. I had a trainer course from the British School of Etiquette.
And I must say it's been one of the best decisions I've ever made and one of the best investments I've made in my own training and development.
Now, words alone will not describe the transformation and the positive path that I have traveled with the British School of Etiquette.
I find really I learned a lot from the lessons this time I came.
The last few days with the British School of Etiquette have been fantastic.
And what I've learned now is really beyond my expectations.
This is the most rewarding experience and the best investment I have made this year.
It was just great. I learned so much, and when I go back to Belgium I will incorporate a lot of it into my day-to-day life and business.
It's been absolutely wonderful for the whole week that we were here.
I feel transformed, and I feel like blowing a trumpet and tell people, come and do this school, this class is the best, this is the best school ever.
You should take it. It's just, it will change your life immediately.
I am now able to teach other people how to bring the best of them.
Thank you.
Thank you, BSc.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.